friends, let's dim the lights just a little. We're gonna start in the way, how about we just dim them all for a second, we'll put it back up. Let's just start the way we're gonna start, with a little practice. So, for just a moment, let's sit up straight. I could get my feet on the floor if my legs were longer. It's okay. The key thing is that we're kind of keeping upright and not falling asleep. We want to get this like super relaxed, but not passing out kind of thing going. So alert and relaxed. So let's close our eyes first. The first thing I'd like you to do is just settle in and notice what is going on for you. This is the first step. Just watch and don't judge. Bring your awareness to your breath. And as you do that, notice where your awareness goes. Where do you most notice your breath? It's different for everyone. Noticing the rising and falling of your abdomen, or maybe in your nostrils, the cool as the air goes in and out. And then on whichever hand feels right, bring your thumb and forefinger together lightly. Bring your attention to that contact area. As you find yourself reeling off into thought, gently just remind yourself to come back with no judgment. The practice of meditation is not this state with no thought. The only time we'll have no thought is when we die. And when we try to stop them with force, they get worse. So we just gently come back to the finger and thumb together. What is the texture of that sensation? How big is it? Is it changing? That's good. We're not going to try that for very long, but before we leave this practice, I want you to think about something good about yourself, something positive about yourself. I see positive things in all of you. I don't know all of them yet. Something you feel good about. can't think of anything, you showed up here today, and that's huge. Congratulate yourself for that. All right, let's carefully open our eyes. Thank you, friends. Good. All right, this is going to be a little rough. Ghastly. Ghastly. Is that better? Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Just a nightmare. Oh my. Okay, business. Today is Wednesday 23, and we have some assignments. So I always put these reminders up to keep you on track. We have 2 assignments. What are those assignments? The essay. So we have an essay. When's that due?
31st.
31st, yes. So that is due next Thursday. The 31st. You have to do research for that, make sure it's pristine. No, you don't, right? You're gonna write from the heart, and the quality of that sharing is what matters. The effort put into this. Doesn't have to be, it's not gonna be published. So we have that due next Thursday, that's one item. And then we also have, what was it? Oh, reading, right? So reading from Monday, we're gonna discuss that reading and take it further. That is pages 4, what was it?
24.
Up through 24. Thank you. Up through page 24. And has anybody actually even started like checking it out? Awesome. It goes quick, right? Like it's big print and stuff, and it's like really beautiful. You're gonna wanna look some stuff up. So on Monday, I'm gonna ask folks to help me out, like, what are the skandhas, and things like that. Yes?
What's the book again?
Come again?
What's the book again?
It is the heart of understanding. It's in the content. So that's good. That's a great question. Thank you. I know you're only doing this for everybody else, so I appreciate that. Yeah. So go to World Class. Go to Content, and it is the heart of understanding. It's a PDF.
How do you say the author's name again?
Yes, Thich Nhat Hanh. Thich Nhat Hanh. I don't know why I thought you were saying that Ebenezer. I was like, she was like, yeah. Thich Nhat Hanh is how you pronounce his name. Yeah. He's an amazing man. His family was in Vietnam when the war broke out, and he lost a lot. Okay, hey, this Friday, you're gonna meet in the chapel at 9:30. And it's just gonna be, you're gonna have 5 of these to attend. This is the Fall Friday number 1. And so the organizers of the first year experience have set up a bunch of really kind of cool talks for us to go to. So this is required, these are required, this is part of your attendance. Remember, you can miss 2 classes, no questions asked. Yeah. You just have to like be dressed enough, bring a coffee. Yeah. Who asked that actually? Did I tell you? Yeah. Bring your tea, bring your coffee, come to relax. Actually, so this is going to be about this thing called, this organization called Raw Tools that takes guns and turns them into gardening implements.
Taylor was telling us about this.
It's cool. It sounds really amazing. So it's like, it's vegged out. There's no quiz, there's no exam. Just think of it as I get to go to this free TED Talk, and it's pretty awesome. Okay, so let's see, is that the news? All right, yes. Any questions or concerns, my friends? Anything you want to talk about, need to know?
So we just need to read up to page 24, and that's it for Monday.
Yeah, exactly.
This has nothing to do with the assignments, but if I wanted to drop a class, would I come to you to change that?
Yeah, we'll work on it. You got something in mind?
Yeah, I wanted to switch my labs, because I have it at 5:30 to 8 tonight, with all of that.
Yeah, and so really, I mean, you can just do that yourself, really, but you may or may not know how to do that, so if you need help, yeah, so let's talk and figure out when we can do that together. Okay, yeah. Anything else?
Once you know where to go, it's pretty easy to do.
Oh, cool. Yeah, sounds like Quinn's got it under control, so awesome.
Because I was literally just like scrolling through world class and just said drop class.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Oh, you went to World Class, or you mean Web Advisor? Where'd you go?
Both. Listen, you can do it in both.
You can? Well, you might want to talk to him. Maybe you could actually, if you have a few minutes, maybe we might end early. Maybe we could all three connect and you can show me what you're doing because it sounds new to me. Okay, cool. So, friends, probably gonna have a pretty chill day today. More like shorter day. I don't know, chill depends on who you are. Did everyone get my email that I sent out about the content that we're going to be encountering here? Yeah, so just again, we're going to listen to the Reverend Angel Kyoto Williams, who is and honestly, I referred to them as a she, so I misgendered her. When I first learned about her, she was going by she. She actually goes by they, them now, so apologies to her for sure. But they are one of the first Black and queer Zen teachers that I've ever learned of. I don't think there are a whole lot in the US. The Zen community is predominantly a lot of white folks in the US. And it's kind of been that way since the 60s, but that is changing. That is changing, and that's great. But she has a book that I can loan you if you're interested. It's called Radical Dharma. Does anybody know what Dharma means? What Dharma is in the context of Buddhism? Yeah, what friend? Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly, but it's like kind of God or something.
Yeah, so I'm glad you said that. So in Buddhism, especially in Zen, we don't really have, there's no deities at all. Like it's kind of atheistic in a way. There's no central God figure. Instead, there are the teachings. So the Dharma is the method that the historical Buddha put forth. Whether or not there actually was a historical Buddha, I don't know. I'm not sure anyone really knows. Just kind of like there's like debate about whether there was a historical Jesus or not, or whether that was a creation of amalgamation of several different figures or just ideas. But yeah, so one of the things that attracts me to Zen in particular is that it's a method free of dogma. So that's what the Buddha went through, and we'll learn a little bit more about the life of that figure, Shakyamuni Buddha. But he was a prince and saw suffering in the world and wanted to understand something about that. And so went through all these different practices, studied these texts, the holy texts, and then came to a realization on his own that, oh, I just need to do this, and this is what we all need to do, and we can liberate ourselves from the oppression of believing that we are our thoughts, and that we are just this little, like I said, little head dangling a body walking through the world. So the way to liberation is really just practicing. You don't have to believe anything. You just do this thing over and over and slowly becomes more awake. So you will hear Reverend Williams talk about this in her speech that we're going to hear. You will also hear her talk about one of the most important things I think that we're going to see in this class, I hope, is that the idea of inside us and outside us is the root of evil in this world. That the belief that you are separate from everything else is why things suck so bad. I mean, there are great things too, but man, there's a lot of shit that goes on that is pretty bad. That's the reason people hurt each other. That's the reason we have devastated nature and this planet is on the brink of collapse. So, inside and outside, fuck that. That's a bad plan. And you're gonna hear her talk about that. Yeah, it's like, there's two things I really don't like at all. One is rectangles, and that's weird for a math guy, but like rectangles are like, that's humanity, right? Literally. This doesn't occur in nature. This occurs, look how many freaking rectangles are in this room. We live in a rectangle. You almost drove here in one if you drove. If you look at the car from the top, it's a freaking rectangle. We live in rectangles, we work in rectangles, everything's a rectangle, there's a goddamn rectangle.
There's one on the board.
There's one on the, yeah, it's a meta, right? There's a rectangle within within another rectangle, within a cube.
It's like a fourth wall break inside a fourth wall break.
That's so fuck that. And then fuck this. Both those things. No. So hopefully we'll get to see a little bit of that. Let me just get this video up here. And so if you are feeling like, she talks about an experience earlier in her life when she was a little girl where she was sexually abused. She doesn't go into the details, but she describes what led to it. But she doesn't get into the details. But you know what? If you have trauma, it doesn't matter what the details are. That's something I've come to understand, is that the details I see aren't the details other people see, and vice versa. We all see the world in very different ways, and I don't want to impose my view on those who see differently. Let's see, are we getting some, is there like light? Let there be light there? Is there light? No? Oh good, and then the sound system too. Now I'm starting to, it's all coming back now from last Friday. Let's see if we can get the sound system to work. Alright, Regis, you're on spot, so let's go here. Don't make me log in. Is there anything showing up there? No. There we go. I guess the button helps. This is my mindless banter to have mindless banter, I guess. Okay, that's not working. There we go. There we go. Let's go to YouTube. And let's just see if we can get some sound. Everything's so slow here. So, in the process of this, we're going to do an activity. There is a meditation of sorts. So a spiritual exercise that she's going to walk us through, and we're going to do that with her because it's very illuminating, and it gets us out of our chairs and into each other's hearts, and that is the talk. Let's just see how loud it is. So no, you don't need to worry at this beginning here. Let's just see if we can get sound. Well, that sounds pretty bad, right? Sometimes Regis just drives me freaking nuts. Like, you don't pay a lot to come here, right? It's pretty cheap, right?
Yeah.
So that's why the tech doesn't work. Cheap.
It's basically free.
You didn't say it right.
Can you hear us in Austin? It's like really quiet. It's really quiet. Let me just see if there's another room open really quick. This is only here. Very frustrating. Let's see. Oh, wait, maybe this one. There's like, oh! A volume knob.
And today, me and the doctor working together,
Yo,
building a comprehensive
Huzzah!
And the first thing that
Okay. All right, friends, so let's watch this together. I'm going to stop it when she gets to the exercise. So the exercise is going to require us to just be in pairs. We're still like missing 2 of our class members, but let's see. I think we might be partners with this, Azil. I think, yeah. So start like thinking. I can see some natural, like Anna and Leilani. Could you be partners? Then there's like everybody else is kind of like sitting by someone. So, and then Tara McKenzie. You could, yeah. Oh, we're missing somebody else too. What is happening? Let me guess. The volume destroyed things.
Oh no.
Going into standby mode. What? You guys.
What did you do?
I know. What did I do?
Broke it.
I broke it. Okay. Is it restarting?
Yep.
All right. I'm gonna complain. I don't know where that goes. Let's try this again. Disgraceful. Tear it out of the wall.
You know the best thing to do when things don't work? You smack it and then it might start working.
It might start working,
It might
yeah.
start
I just
working.
unplugged it, so.
The amount of times I've smacked things and it works.
Ooh, I forgot. I had one extra thing I want you to do between now and Monday too. It's easy. This is an easy one.
Is it saying hi to somebody?
This is actually, while we're waiting for this is something I want you to start doing in general, because like starting next week, you're actually gonna have to like write up a little bit about this. So I'd like you to, when you think of it, touch your thumb and your forefinger together and notice that sensation. Just throughout the day. And you don't have to sit, it doesn't have to be a formal meditation, but like just take those moments through your day to break up, everybody with me? To break up your day and just go, oh yeah, that thing, and then just do it. You don't even have to close your eyes. Just notice that sensation. Get in the habit of breaking your train of thought. That's what this is all about. So everybody with me? Folks are talking, but I can't, like, are you hearing me?
Yeah.
We're good? Okay. So let's also remember, I know I talk a lot, but let's try to be mindful of when other people are speaking and like be there for them. Let's start practicing being there for each other as opposed to what we're feeling like doing necessarily in the moment, which might be not listening. All right, I think we're gonna get this.
Third time's a charm.
Sure, it's third. Oh my God, am I in third?
Yes.
Does the sound work this time?
It should be. It looks jacked up in the good way. Like,
Oh, okay.
Good choice.
life with otherwise lifeless forms. Your career evolution to the fashion
Okay, time to go. I'm gonna kill the lights here. Yeah, we're gonna kill the lights. When violence happens. Violence is the nature of the things, unfortunately. All right, here we go, my friends. So, dude. Williams, I'm sorry.
Then you have this general sense that love is important. On the other hand, you may have a vague, gnawing suspicion that that might not be true.
Okay, I'm going to start that over.
Why?
Now. There we go.
Because I want to share that I am heartbroken about love. And if you're even a little bit like me, and I'm guessing that you are, if you're interested in the idea of practicing change, then you have this general sense that love is important. On the other hand, you may have a vague, gnawing suspicion that that might not be true. Why? Because given the state of the world around us, the evidence for love doesn't exactly bear out. If love were so potent, what are we to believe? That the people around us are just not loving? We don't tend to think that about the people that we like and we feel good about, and especially the ones that make us feel good. We get that nice warm fuzzy feeling in our belly or sometimes other places when we like someone. But when it comes to those others, when we don't actually get those people, we can think they're not loving. And then we don't have to actually give them love. So that doesn't make us loving, does it? It's all very confusing. The problem is that the business of changing the world requires more of us than that. So one day I got interested in what is it that happened to my sense of love, or in the famous words of Tina Turner, what's love got to do with it? When I was around 8 years old, we left the place that I considered the golden years of my youth. It was Lefrak City, right there in Queens, New York. It was kind of a United Nations of people from different countries, different ethnicities. They spoke different languages and they practiced different religions. We were Chinese and Moroccan, South Asian, Black, Latino, white, and everything in between. We were really different, and it was fantastic. But love called my dad, so off we went to Flatbush, Brooklyn, which was an entirely different world from the one that I had grown up in. We came from across the diaspora, but racially speaking, we were black, so we were supposed to be the same, but I felt alone. I was a latchkey kid. On most evenings, no one was home until at least 6:30. But we had a very kind doorman. He was an older man. I remember he had graying hair and kind eyes, and he always had a ready smile. He was helpful, carrying bags, opening the elevator for me when I needed to go to the laundry in the basement. One day I needed to do that, and so the doorman rode down in the elevator with me, as he often did, and so I didn't think anything of it. Our laundry room was busy, and so he led me to the other side so we could see if that one was free. On the way back, we abruptly turned into a room that was dimly lit with a naked bulb over a single mattress. The kind doorman pulled my hand that I don't even remember him taking in his and put it in places that it never should have known. He said that we were friends. He told me that he loved me. And because of this love, I should never ever share that secret place. I left confused and conflicted. But it was love, and everyone wanted that, right? So I grew up in my adult years with the whole idea of love being one that felt muddy, fraught, full of suspicion. I had that experience and other ones that were domination, control, ego, and aggression passed off as love. You can understand why I took this into my adult years. By, let's say, the year 2000, I was a committed activist, but it was starting to take its toll because we were driving with anger, we were burning out, and our path was unsustainable. So I started to think to myself, what would happen if the movements that we were a part of were grounded in stillness? And what would that mean for me? Because at this point, I looked across the divide on the one hand at the people with a Bible in their hand and a shotgun in the other, the ones that wanted to make America great again, knowing that that America never included me. And on the other hand, on the other divide, I looked at the people with their yoga mats and their meditation cushions, oming down their bottled water. Professing love for all of humanity, but they couldn't even look me and my brothers in the eye. But I looked into this meditation, I even got my own cushion, and eventually I wrote a book about this idea. Well, fast forward, and shortly after that, I read another book, and it was called All About Love by Bell Hooks. It explored the idea of the importance of love in our society. And since in my meditation practice I had already discovered that you didn't actually have to like people in order to love them, something that Bell said stuck with me. She said, the fact that our society does not have a shared meaning of love is what confuses us and causes us to have the act of actually loving be so mystifying. So I took that with me, realizing that from the experiences that I had that when I was a child, that my sense of love, my heart had been broken and my sense of love had been broken. And Bell's work deeply affected me, so I looked further into it. What I discovered is that we needed a kind of practice that would be immediately graspable for more people. Meditation was powerful, but not enough people were actually moving to that practice. So in my search for something that everyone could actually access immediately, because it is the Twitter age after all, I found this practice first passed to me by Wendy Palmer, who's a powerful teacher of embodiment. I've been tweaking it for about 15 years, so I'd like to share it with you. Can we do that? Okay. So if we have a moment and everyone will stand up and find a partner. So you're going to...
So I'll pause that for a second. Make sure you get your partner. My partner? Careful, partner. No injuries today. So you're just going to stand side by side. That's all you're going to do.
Stand side by side with your partner, not facing them, but side by side. And I'd like you to listen to these instructions. What you're going to do is you're going to place your hand on the side of your partner's shoulder, not on the top, but on the side. So I'd like you to first get permission from each other to be in contact. Okay, great. Right on the side. So those of you that have the short hair are going to apply pressure first. So place your hand on the side of your partner and begin with steady, even pressure, slow and even. You're going to keep giving pressure until your partner has had enough, and you know when you've had enough because you'll feel on your edge and a little bit out of control. When your partner nods their head, they've had enough. So go ahead and apply pressure. And when they nod their head, what I want you to do is to simply keep the pressure there. Don't add any and don't take any away. Okay? So those of you receiving the pressure, your job is to simply notice what your experience is. What's happening for you at this moment? What's going on in your jaw, your belly? How are your buttocks, your legs? What about the quality of the room and the temperature? Notice if anything has changed for you. When you've had enough information, I'd like you to nod your head again and release the pressure. Now, those of you that were pushing, your job is just to remember what your experience was like when you applied pressure to the person. Now, what we're going to do is, for the sake of time, we'll do this again. The person is going to apply pressure again. I'm going to give you some instructions that I'd like you to follow along. So short hair people, go ahead and place your hand on the side of the person's shoulder. Just one person is placing at a time. There you go. And begin to apply steady, even pressure. Keep going steady and even until your partner has had enough, indicating that by nodding your head. And now that you've had enough, what I want you to do is hear this. Those of you receiving the pressure, begin by feeling your feet, rooting into the earth, and feeling your seat. Bring your pelvis even with the floor. Locate yourself in the room. On an out breath, extend your crown to the sky and lift your heels up off the floor and bring your feet directly underneath you if they're not already. On an in-breath, draw your shoulders up, and on an out-breath, roll them out again. Feel the full expanse of your chest open and exposed in your heart space. In your length, you feel a sense of inherent dignity. What inherent means is that it cannot be given to you, therefore it cannot be taken away. In your width, I want you to feel your sense of relationship by including the space and then the person next to you on either side. Now take awareness of your front body and your back body all the way through. Eyes on the horizon, notice the generations in front of you and feel your ancestors behind. With a strong back and soft belly, take up the space that is yours in your depth. Finally, I want you to drop your attention and your center of gravity down into your belly. Connect to what matters. You don't have to save the world, just connect to what matters to you. From that place, as you're willing, invite a little bit more pressure and notice how that feels. Those of you offering the pressure, notice what that feels like for you. And as you're ready, release. Turn, thank your partner. And while you're still standing, I just want to take a little bit of feedback. Let me know how that was for you in 1 or 2 words, just a few words. Grounding, connecting. encompassing, expansive. What was the first time like? Off balance. Big voices, challenging, resisting, and vulnerable. So please take your seats.
Would you like to try that in the reciprocated way? Or we each had a different experience of that, and like we have the time. I feel like it'd be good to do it again, but be on the other side. So I'm gonna back it up. Let's try that one more time, so that you get to see both roles, and that there's no inside and outside.
Feel on your edge and a little instructions. What you're going to do is you're going to place your hand on the side of your partner's shoulder, not on the top, but on the side. So I'd like you to first get permission from each other to be in contact. Okay, great. Right on the side. So those of you that have the short hair are going to apply pressure first. So place your hand on the side of your partner and begin with steady, even pressure, slow and even. You're going to keep giving pressure until your partner has had enough, and you know when you've had enough, because you'll feel on your edge and a little bit out of control. When your partner nods their head, they've had enough. So go ahead and apply pressure. And when they nod their head, what I want you to do is to simply keep the pressure there. Don't add any and don't take any away. Okay? So those of you receiving the pressure, your job is to simply notice what your experience is. What's happening for you at this moment? What's going on in your jaw, your belly? How are your buttocks, your legs? What about the quality of the room and the temperature? Notice if anything has changed for you. When you've had enough information, I'd like you to nod your head again and release the pressure. Now, those of you that were pushing, your job is just to remember what your experience was like when you applied pressure to the person. Now, what we're going to do is, for the sake of time, we'll do this again. The person is going to apply pressure again. I'm going to give you some instructions that I'd like you to follow along. So, short-haired people, go ahead and place your hand on the side of the person's shoulder. Just one person is placing at a time. There you go. And begin to apply steady, even pressure. Keep going, steady and even, until your partner has had enough, indicating that by nodding your head. And now that you've had enough, what I want you to do is hear this. Those of you receiving the pressure, begin by feeling your feet, rooting into the earth, and feeling your seat. Bring your pelvis even with the floor. Locate yourself in the room. On an out breath, extend your crown to the sky and lift your heels up off the floor and bring your feet directly underneath you if they're not already. On an in-breath, draw your shoulders up, and on an out-breath, roll them out again. Feel the full expanse of your chest open and exposed in your heart space. In your length, you feel a sense of inherent dignity. What inherent means is that it cannot be given to you, therefore it cannot be taken away. In your width, I want you to feel your sense of relationship by including the space and then the person next to you on either side. Now take awareness of your front body and your back body all the way through. Eyes on the horizon, notice the generations in front of you and feel your ancestors behind. With a strong back and soft belly, take up the space that is yours in your depth. Finally, I want you to drop your attention and your center of gravity down into your belly. Connect to what matters. You don't have to save the world, just connect to what matters to you. From that place, as you're willing, invite a little bit more pressure and notice how that feels. Those of you offering the pressure, notice what that feels like for you. And as you're ready, release. Turn, thank your partner. And while you're still standing, I just want to take a little bit of feedback. Let me know how that was for you in 1 or 2 words, just a few words. Grounding, connecting, encompassing, expansive. What was the first time like? Off balance. Big voices, challenging, resisting, and vulnerable. So please take your seats.
Courage is a quiet determination to be there for our patients, for our communities, for each other.
Lindor, made to melt you by the Lindt Master Chocolatier.
So what I'd like you to take notice of is how much changed out there when you changed your in here. Often we have this sense that everything that we have to do in order to change the world, in order to disrupt the systems that would have us not love each other across lines of difference and even across lines of sameness, has to do with what we have to do out there. But these practices have the capacity to disrupt the disconnect that lives inside of us. And I promise you that no matter how much you want to believe in the power of love, as long as that separation, that disconnect lives inside of you, you will continue to uphold structures of division and separation unconsciously, or you'll simply learn to ignore them. So it turns out that justice is actually a practice. It can be measured, equity can be measured, fairness, stability, connection can be felt. So if you understand when I say that I don't want your love, I want justice. I want justice for the women who have born and raised children throughout time in our society, and their labor has gone unpaid and underappreciated. And this has been the single hindrance of having a just society. I want justice for the women that choose to not bear children and instead bring their creative life force to the workplace, to the artistic sphere, to problem solving the most intractable challenges of our world. I want them to have equal pay for their equal work and not have to choose between opportunity and their dignity. I don't want your love. I want justice for the people that live in poverty. I want you to recognize that that is an indication of our society's impoverished imagination, but that the people themselves are storehouses of richness, of resilience, love, and many other qualities that we need in our society. I don't want your love. I want justice for the people of different ethnicities, cultures, and religions that have always been the lifeblood of this nation and the engines of our success. I want treaties restored. I want undocumented people to be recognized for the fact that the borders crossed them 160 years ago. I want life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness to extend equally to all peoples so that Muslims can eat, pray, love, and dress as they choose. I don't want your love. I want justice for the millions of Black people that are compelled to live in a heightened sense of danger, the threat to our lives, which do matter, being very real. I want reparations for the $1 trillion of unpaid labor over 400 years, and is the major underpinning of the economic dominance of this nation. I don't need your love, but I must have justice for the girl and boy children that have the divine right to grow up with their innocence intact, to never ever have to believe that an offer of love is something that they should be suspect of. I want to end to the patriarchy that tells girls to be careful and boys to be men, and in the process undermines our unabashed commitment to love as something that inspires awe, brings us into connection, and tethers our heart to justice for all. Most of all, I want justice for you and you and you, that you may find those spaces inside of you that are unacknowledged, unhealed, unloved, and have a practice in which you deepen and reconnect those places. So you can see why I have been heartbroken about love. Does that mean that we should give up on it? No. But what I'm betting is that when we have the opportunity, when we are all empowered to live in a just society, when you have the commitment to deepen a practice in which you reconnect those parts of yourselves that you left behind, when you practice centering into presence as many times as you possibly can, over and over again, when you choose not just to love but to be you, then and only then you may just have room to love me too. Thank you so much.
Wow. Never fails to get to me. It's the end of our time together this week, friends. Thank you all. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you. I'm so grateful that we're together. We've got one hell of a journey ahead of us. So, remember, throughout the day, between now and Monday, right? A-OK. A-OK. Inside. And yeah, like that. Like hook up with a friend, love, all that shit. All right. So Friday, right? The chapel, 9:30.
Are you there or is it just us?
I'm going to try to be there. But if not, if you don't see me there, it's because I'm running late. But I will be in my office afterwards. So on Fridays, I have office hours from 11 to noon. And like basically like right after this class would be. So come visit. If you need anything, I will be there for you. And if you need anything, reach out, please.
And the chapel's the exact same time.
Yes, sir. 9:30. That is correct, Quinn. All right, cool. Have a great day. Enjoy a little extra time today. Thanks for playing along.